Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the place that cuts through the noise to bring you the really essential insights from the material you share with us. Today, we're plunging into a guide, one that seems specifically crafted, really, for a generation navigating, well, a whirlwind of digital storms, economic struggles, and, cultural shifts.
Exactly. Yeah, our mission today is to truly unpack the core wisdom of Think, Dare, and Rise, a mentorship guide for youthful entrepreneurs by Reuben Juma Onunga. And this isn't just another, feel-good book on success. It's more like a reimagining of timeless principles, but designed to speak directly to young people who are grappling with confusion, anxiety, and the immense pressure of societal expectations right now.
Right. So if you've ever felt overwhelmed by just endless information online, or maybe doubted your own potential in that, crowded space, this deep dive is absolutely for you. We're going to explore how this book, which draws inspiration from Napoleon Hill's classic Think and Grow Rich, offers a really practical roadmap. It shows you how to turn those fleeting thoughts into a definite purpose, how to turn quiet faith into powerful action, and, well, your biggest dreams into tangible, impactful enterprises.
And not just for personal gain, right? For real, meaningful contribution.
Exactly.
And what gives this book its incredible weight, I think, is the author's own journey. Reuben Juma Onunga doesn't just theorize. He writes from a place of deep, lived experience. I mean, he navigated intense academic striving, he faced career uncertainty, grappled with significant financial strain, and even confronted a major mental health challenge, a bipolar diagnosis, back in 2017. Yeah, and he describes that breakdown not as an ending, but as a comma, something that ultimately birthed profound clarity. He says he has lived the content he shares, which makes his advice resonate with this rare authenticity.
That context is absolutely vital. So, okay, let's peel back the layers of this remarkable journey and dive into these 10 powerful principles. We need to understand how they connect to the unique world our listeners, you, inhabit today. So Reuben kicks things off by asking us to look inward, right, to the heart of what drives us. Desire. He's talking about awakening the burning desire within, a force so potent it needs to be stronger than your deepest fears. This isn't just a casual wish, is it? He calls it a burning, relentless, all-consuming desire. How does he make that different from just, wanting something when we see so many things we want online?
That's such a crucial distinction, especially like you said, when we're constantly scrolling past things we might want for a second. Hill famously said, "Desire is the starting point of all achievement." But Reuben, he personalizes this. He shares how pain taught me what passive dreaming never could, that unless my desire burned brighter than my fear, I would never move. He's talking about an almost primal need, where giving up becomes more painful than actually pressing on. For many young people, caught between wanting quick success and that huge fear of failure or judgment, this isn't just about wanting a thing. It's about being so genuinely possessed by your dream that it anchors you against all that digital noise and self-doubt.
So it has to be deep-seated.
Exactly. A weak desire, he warns, leads to a cold life, basically, a life of inaction. It's about finding that deep why that pushes you through the how.
Okay, so that burning desire is the engine. But what fuels it when the road gets dark, when that fire starts to flicker? The book points to faith, the inner currency of all success. It's about cultivating that deep belief before you see the results, that quiet power that moves mountains. But for a generation grappling with so much uncertainty, how does Reuben's experience make that quiet power feel tangible? How do we build that bridge from desire to unwavering belief when external proof is, well, often scarce?
That's a really profound question, because faith can sound so abstract, maybe even naive, in a world that demands instant, visible results. But Reuben grounds it in his personal crisis. He talks about his lowest point, mentally broken, financially strained, and he explicitly states, "It wasn't talent that saved me. It wasn't money. It was faith. Faith in a God who still had a plan." That was the turning point.
Wow, that's powerful.
It really is. For young people facing that internal battlefield of life, the silent doubts, negative self-talk, limiting beliefs, Hill called faith the eternal elixir that gives power to thought. Reuben's message is that it's about cultivating an inner certainty, even when everything outside seems to contradict it. It's a deliberate act.
How do you do it, though?
Well, he suggests speaking, thinking, and walking in faith daily, understanding that faith without works is dead. It's a call to act on that belief, even in small ways, to sort of solidify it within yourself.
Acting your way into believing, almost.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, moving from belief to direction. The third principle outlines the power of definite purpose and clear goals. Clarity, as the book puts it, is the compass of achievers. This really hits home when you think about how many options and distractions are thrown at young people every single day. How does Reuben argue for cutting through that noise to find your true north?
Right, because for young people today, it's not just information overload, it's option paralysis. You're constantly bombarded with paths you could take, identities you could adopt, especially online. Rubin's point here is brilliant because it cuts right through that noise. He says the real problem isn't usually a lack of talent, it's a lack of a clear target.
A lack of focus.
Precisely.
Yeah.
He pushes you to ask, what exactly do I want to become? What impact do I want to leave behind? He shares that he transformed his own life when he discovered his purpose was to mentor and inspire. That shifted his energy, made his plans strategic.
So it wasn't just a vague hope anymore.
Exactly. Vague goals, he warns, produce vague results. It's about getting smart, making your goals specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
The classic acronym.
The classic, yes. But it works. That's how you turn a blurry vision into actionable steps and, like we said, turn dreams into deadlines. It's your internal GPS guiding you past the endless detours online and off.
Okay, so once you have that burning desire, that unwavering faith, and a clear purpose, how do you keep your mind aligned? How do you stay on track mentally? The book next dives into autosuggestion, reprogramming the mind for success. It tells us to speak it, write it, declare it until you become it. This sounds almost like a superpower, honestly. But what exactly is autosuggestion, and how does Reuben suggest we use it in a world that's constantly trying to reprogram us with other messages?
Yeah, it does sound a bit mystical, but autosuggestion isn't really magic. It's about harnessing your brain's natural plasticity. Think of it like training a muscle or deliberately installing new software on your internal computer.
Okay, I like that analogy.
Hill described it as implanting faith and confidence directly into your subconscious mind. And for today's youth, scrolling through social media, constantly exposed to curated highlight reels and often negative narratives, this becomes a deliberate act of, well, warfare against self-doubt and all that external programming.
Mental engineering.
That's a great way to put it, mental engineering. Reuben shares his own ritual during tough times. I would declare who I was becoming, I wrote it down, I spoke it out, I read it aloud, and slowly my spirit began to respond. He's essentially saying, the more you feed your subconscious consistent, positive affirmations like, I am capable of building this vision, the more your neural pathways actually strengthen those beliefs.
So you're creating a feedback loop.
Exactly. A powerful internal feedback loop that starts to drown out the noise of comparison and self-doubt.
Okay, beyond the mental training, how do you practically equip yourself to actually build something? You need skills, right? The book next dives into specialized knowledge, the raw material of wealth, asserting that in this information age, wisdom is the new gold. But with so much information out there, what does specialized knowledge actually look like today, and how do you acquire it without just getting lost in the noise?
This is such a critical point for our listeners because you have access to more information than any generation before. It's overwhelming. Hill famously stated, general knowledge is of but little use in the accumulation of money. Or, we could say, in making a real impact. The insight here isn't just what you know, but how uniquely you apply it to solve a real contemporary problem.
So it's not just learning facts.
Not at all. Instead of just, say, learning to code, the specialized insight might be becoming the go-to expert for ethical AI implementation in sustainable fashion, something specific.
Connecting knowledge to impact.
Exactly. It's combining that specialized knowledge with a tangible, high-value impact.
Yeah.
Reuben realized for himself that communication, the ability to teach, inspire, simplify, and persuade was my domain. And he cautions against chasing fleeting visibility going viral over true mastery. He notes that virality fades, mastery remains.
That's a good line.
Isn't it? He encourages identifying a purposeful niche, committing to deep learning courses, books, practice, and then applying that knowledge, even through volunteering or freelancing initially. That's how you develop unique expertise that the world genuinely values.
So you've got the desire, the faith, the purpose, the mindset, the specialized knowledge. Where do the actual ideas come from? How do you start creating? The book talks about imagination, the workshop of the entrepreneurial mind, reminding us that ideas are free, only execution costs. In a world flooded with content, endless digital ideas, How do we cultivate and leverage our imagination effectively? How do we stop it from just being a mental playground?
That really struck me too because young people often have a distinct advantage here, right? They're not yet completely boxed in by tradition or rigid thinking. Hill called imagination the workshop of the mind, the birthplace of all plans, all wealth. But Rubin points out something crucial. The tragedy today isn't usually a lack of ideas, it's often a lack of courage and systems to pursue those ideas.
Right, we see ideas everywhere.
Exactly. For young people constantly bombarded with inspiration and comparison online, the challenge is shifting from just passive consumption to active creation. He explores both synthetic imagination, rearranging existing ideas into new combos, and creative imagination receiving those fresh insights, those aha moments.
So how do you make it a workshop, not just a playground?
He urges us to treat our imagination with discipline, create dedicated thinking time, diligently record ideas, don't let them vanish, and intentionally feed our minds daily with diverse inputs. Books, conversations, experiences. It's about building a structured approach to innovation, really, turning those fleeting thoughts into solid concepts you can actually work with.
Okay, makes sense. So once you have that compelling vision born from imagination, how do you turn it into something real, a tangible enterprise? This is where the book emphasizes organized planning, from vision to enterprise, with that stark reminder, a dream without a plan is just a good night's sleep. Many young entrepreneurs are fueled by passion, but where does planning fit in when the world seems to reward spontaneous action, the just-do-it mentality?
Yeah, this is where so many dreams, especially those born of incredible passion, tend to fizzle out. Rubin's really honest here. He admits that in his early projects, he had immense energy, but basically no system. He learned the hard way that energy without planning leads to burnout.
Been there.
Right. So for a generation often celebrating the hustle, Rubin emphasizes that planning is the absolutely essential bridge. It's what turns "one day I will" into "this is what I'm doing today."
So it's about breaking it down.
Exactly. Breaking down grand visions into smaller, manageable goals, identifying the resources you need, anticipating obstacles because there will be obstacles, and then, crucially, regularly reviewing and adjusting the plan. It's not about being rigid, it's about being disciplined but also agile. In a fast-paced world, structured planning lets you adapt strategically rather than just reacting impulsively. It turns passionate ideas into sustainable, brick-by-brick progress. It's about being proactive in a reactive world.
Okay, planning requires action, and action requires decision, the mark of every successful person. The book warns us that indecision breeds doubt, bold choices birth legacy. That sounds great, but in an age of infinite choices and that constant fear of making the wrong decision, how do young people cultivate the courage to actually make those bold choices?
That fear of failure and the paralysis of choice are just amplified massively in today's digital world, aren't they?
Definitely. Everything feels permanent.
Yeah, every decision from what you post online to which career path you commit to feels like it could be critiqued by 1,000 strangers. He'll observe that successful people make decisions promptly and clearly. But Rubin's insight here is profound, I think. He says, making the wrong decision is not as dangerous as making no decision at all.
That's counterintuitive but powerful.
It really is. Indecision is paralysis. It just drains your energy and invites fear and regret. So the book urges you. Know your core values first, your non-negotiables. Then gather enough information, but don't get stuck in analysis paralysis. Don't worship the data. Trust your trained gut, own your choices without endless second guessing, and, importantly, be ready to pivot if necessary. It's a call to just move forward, even imperfectly, rather than remaining stuck scrolling through what ifs.
Move forward even imperfectly. I like that. Okay, so even with all these powerful tools, the desire, faith, purpose, imagination, plans, decisions, the path is rarely smooth, right? That's where persistence, the silent fuel of champions, comes in. When the world says give up, whisper one more try. How does Rubin's experience offer a blueprint for building that kind of unshakable resilience, especially in a world that often demands instant gratification and quick wins?
Yeah, this is maybe one of the most vital principles for today's generation, where failure can feel so public, so devastating. What's compelling here is Rubin's raw acknowledgement that every dreamer will face loneliness, blurry vision, fading support, times when it feels like absolutely no progress is being made.
The messy middle.
The messy middle, exactly. Hill called persistence an essential factor. Rubin recounts seasons when everything seemed stuck, when the initial excitement had completely worn off, but he consistently heard this quiet inner voice, keep going, one more step.
Wow.
And he stresses that persistence isn't just motivation that comes and goes. It's a deep-seated discipline. It's about showing up, doing the work long after the initial buzz fades. It's about embracing setbacks, even outright failures, as invaluable teachers, and sticking to those daily non-negotiables, those small actions. His powerful conclusion is that persistence never fails. It either achieves the goal eventually or it teaches you precisely what you needed to learn to succeed next time. It's your steadfast rebellion against the instant gratification culture.
Love that. A steadfast rebellion. And finally, no journey like this is ever truly walked alone, is it? The book concludes with mastermind and mentorship, the secret allies, declaring, "No one rises alone. Greatness is a team sport." But in a world that often celebrates the self-made myth, and where connections can feel pretty superficial online, how crucial is building a genuine support system? And how does Reuben suggest we actually find it?
That raises such an important point about authentic connection versus just, digital networking or accumulating followers. He'll define a mastermind group as a friendly alliance of minds harmonized to a definite purpose. It's about synergy. Reuben highlights his own experience with mentors, professors, spiritual leaders, fellow visionaries, people who challenged him, sharpened him, uplifted him when he needed it.
Real relationships.
Real relationships. For young people, it's about intentionally seeking those out. The book encourages looking for mentors with proven character and relevant experience, and initiating those relationships with genuine honor and respect, not just asking, "What can you do for me?"
Right. Give before you get.
Absolutely. And actively joining or forming mastermind groups for accountability and diverse perspectives. He also wisely suggests becoming a mentor to others yourself, which actually deepens your own understanding. Your tribe, your team, your table, as he puts it, they are truly your secret weapon against isolation and stagnation. It's about building a genuine human network that supports your growth.
What a profound journey through these 10 principles.
Wow.
From igniting that burning desire within to seeking out those essential secret allies. Reuben Juma Onunga's Think, Dare, and Rise really offers a deeply personal yet incredibly practical guide for any young person looking to navigate today's complex world and build a purposeful, impactful life.
Absolutely. Yeah, the book serves as such a powerful reminder that you are not too young, too late, too small, or too poor to start. That's a direct message. It's a compelling call to action. Think deliberately. Dare bravely, rise purposefully, turn your pain into fuel and your vast potential into tangible enterprise. The principles are crystal clear. Intention combined with discipline, vision with action, and that unwavering faith coupled with consistent follow-through.
So what does this all mean for you, our listener, right now? As you reflect on these powerful insights, maybe consider which of these 10 principles resonates most strongly with where you are today. Is it about awakening a deeper, unyielding desire? Cultivating a more unwavering faith in your vision, perhaps? Defining a clearer purpose that cuts through all the noise? Or maybe it's about actively seeking out your mastermind, those secret allies who will genuinely help you rise.
Yeah, and beyond just reflecting, what steps will you actually take today to begin writing your own story? Not just with ink, as they say, but with decisive, persistent action. And as Reuben himself implies, the greatest success is not in arriving alone, but in lifting others as you climb. So what concrete action will you commit to taking today, not only to rouse yourself, but also to maybe pass that flame of insight and inspiration forward to someone else?
Think boldly. Dare bravely. Rise purposefully. That's a truly powerful thought to carry with you. We really hope this deep dive has given you not just information, but some real inspiration and actionable truth to guide your path.